The Montreal Canadiens are staring down a crossroads that will define their championship window, and Kent Hughes might be about to make the most controversial decision of his tenure as general manager. While fans celebrate their breakthrough season and dream of playoff glory, a glaring weakness threatens to derail everything they built, the harsh reality that nobody wants to discuss. Montreal's forward depth isn't championship caliber. Not yet, not when it matters most. Sure, the top line dazzles with highlight reel magic. Nick Suzuki orchestrates offense with surgical precision. Ivan Demidov has already established himself as a generational talent. Cole Caulfield's goal-scoring ability reaches elite levels. But championship teams aren't built on three forwards carrying the entire offensive load. They're built on depth that can strike from multiple lines, creating matchup nightmares for opposing coaches. That's where Jared McCann enters the conversation, like a perfectly timed power play opportunity. Seattle's disappointment becomes Montreal's potential salvation. The Kraken entered the season with playoff aspirations and championship dreams, only to watch those hopes crumble under the weight of inconsistent performances and tactical failures. When organizations face that kind of devastating reality check, roster shakeups become inevitable. McCann finds himself caught in the crossfire of Seattle's organizational soul-searching. 20 goals and 40 points in 52 games doesn't scream disappointment, but context matters in professional hockey. Those numbers represent a player performing at elite levels while his team struggles to find identity and direction. Jared McCann, Seattle Kraken hockey player. The contract situation creates perfect storm conditions for a potential trade. McCann enters the final year of his deal in 2026-27, placing Seattle in an impossible position. Do they risk losing him for nothing in free agency? Or do they maximize his trade value while they still control his rights? For Montreal, this represents the kind of opportunity that transforms good teams into great ones. McCann isn't just another forward addition. He's a Swiss Army knife of offensive versatility, capable of playing center or wing with equal effectiveness. That flexibility becomes invaluable when injuries strike or tactical adjustments demand different lineup configurations. The numbers tell a story that should excite every Canadiens fan dreaming of deep playoff runs. McCann has recorded at least 61 points in 3 consecutive seasons before this year's shortened campaign. His 2022-23 performance stands out like a beacon of offensive consistency. 40 goals and 70 points in 79 games. Those aren't empty calories or garbage time statistics. McCann produces at crucial moments in pressure situations against elite competition. The kind of production that translates directly to playoff success when games are decided by razor-thin margins and every scoring chance becomes precious. But here's where the conversation gets interesting and potentially divisive among Montreal's fan base. Acquiring McCann would require significant assets, likely including prospects or draft picks that represent the future of this organization. Hughes faces a classic championship dilemma. Sacrifice tomorrow's potential for today's opportunity. The power play dimension adds another layer of intrigue to this potential acquisition. Montreal's man advantage has shown flashes of brilliance, but lacks the consistent secondary scoring threat that elite units possess. McCann's ability to create offense from multiple positions would give Martin St. Louis tactical options that currently don't exist. Picture the scenario. Montreal's power play takes the ice with Suzuki quarterbacking from the point, Demidov creating chaos on the half wall, Caulfield lurking in his office for one-timers, and McCann providing a secondary threat that opposing penalty killers can't ignore. That's not just improvement. That's transformation into a weapon that could swing entire playoff series. The versatility factor cannot be overstated in today's NHL. Coaches demand players who can adapt to different roles, different situations, different tactical requirements. McCann's ability to play center allows Montreal to roll for legitimate scoring lines. His wing capability provides insurance against injuries and creates matchup advantages against opposing depth units. Seattle's organizational direction makes this trade scenario increasingly realistic. The Kraken are facing hard questions about their core, their coaching, their entire competitive timeline. When teams reach that point of existential crisis, veteran players on expiring contracts become expendable assets rather than untouchable cornerstones. The financial mathematics work perfectly for Montreal's salary cap structure. McCann's current deal provides excellent value for his production level, and his pending free agency status means Montreal wouldn't be committing long-term dollars before evaluating fit within their system. But the real question haunting this potential trade: what would Montreal have to surrender to make it happen? Seattle won't simply gift away a proven scorer because their season disappointed. They'll demand legitimate value in return, likely targeting Montreal's prospect pool or future draft capital. Hughes must decide whether accelerating the competitive timeline justifies depleting future assets. This decision reveals a fundamental tension in modern NHL management. Do you trust your current core enough to mortgage future flexibility for immediate improvement? Or do you maintain patience and hope internal development fills the gaps naturally? The answer might depend on how seriously Montreal views their championship window. If Hughes believes his core can win now, McCann becomes a logical target who addresses specific needs while avoiding tactical flexibility. If he views this season as developmental progress rather than championship opportunity, the asking price might be too steep. The timing couldn't be more critical. Montreal's young stars are entering their prime years simultaneously. Suzuki continues evolving into an elite two-way center. Demidov's rookie brilliance suggests superstar potential. Caulfield's goal scoring has reached legitimate elite levels. Windows like this don't remain open forever. Championship teams recognize these moments and act decisively. They understand that talent alone isn't enough, that depth separates contenders from pretenders, that tactical flexibility wins playoff series when skill levels equalize. McCann represents more than statistical production. He represents the kind of veteran presence that young cores need to reach championship levels. He's experienced playoff pressure, understands what it takes to perform when everything is on the line, brings a kind of professionalism that elevates entire locker rooms. The question isn't whether McCann would improve Montreal's forward group. The question is whether Kent Hughes has the vision and courage to make the move that could define this franchise's next decade. Will Montreal pull the trigger on the trade that transforms them from promising young team to legitimate championship threat? Hit that like button if you believe McCann is exactly what the Canadiens need. And subscribe because this summer's moves will determine whether Montreal's window opens wide or slams shut before it truly begins.